One of the biggest adjustments new leaders need to make is how they look at their environment. As an employee, more or less, you can punch in at the beginning of your shift, punch out at the end of your shift, and you can leave the actual nature of the environment to other people, i.e. the leaders in your organization. And while you were likely asked for suggestions on how things could improve, and good companies engage you in terms of how to make this environment better, it's not your responsibility. So in the end, that stress isn't yours, and if things don't go as planned or the improvements and changes that the company was looking for didn't happen, it's not on you. And some employee groups enjoy blaming the other person for the fact that it didn't happen. As a leader, things change. You're no longer asked just to walk in and walk out and leave the nature of your environment to someone else. Actually, they're asking you to build an environment. They're asking you to look and assess at what your team needs to be successful in meeting its goals down the road and in the future, and then build the environment that will help deliver that. Metaphorically, what that means is that if you inherited a 2-lane road and you need a 4-lane expressway, you've always kind of known, even when you weren't leader, that there were some changes that you'd implement. That leadership means that you start to build it. The scene that you're watching in the video, that's the backdrop to this video log, is the construction of the final leg of the ring road in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where I live. And it's going to greatly increase the flow in the city and help reduce commute times. Someone had the vision that down the road, as Calgary's population increased and that as its economy expanded, that this would be required, and so it's being built. As a leader, that's your job. If you inherited a bungalow and you picture it as a house, and that's what I love to build, the metaphor of building a house is what I use in my building capacity workshops. Let's say you inherited a bungalow, but you need a 2-story with a walkout basement. It's your job to spearhead the construction of it. Whatever you do, let me say that again, whatever you do, do not forget about the importance of the environment you create to help influence behaviors towards a goal. Environments are crucial. I'm going to say it again. They influence behaviors towards a goal. Leader, it's important to recognize that the job you have now, i.e. leader, is different fundamentally than the job you used to have. And a lot of times in organizations, that line gets blurred. They assume that a good truck driver is going to be a great leader of truck drivers, or a good accountant is going to be a great leader of accountants. I think all of you have seen otherwise. They are completely different jobs. And so here's the scoop for me, is that too often leaders burn out because they try to go it alone. They put all the pressure of motivating the team and getting results and seeing change on their own shoulders, or they try to that they get. And it's not a good recipe for engagement. It's not a good recipe for motivation. It's not a good recipe for sustainable results. And so something has to change. Now, former U.S. President Ronald Reagan, here was his quote around leadership. He says, "Find the best people you can find, give away all authority, and don't interfere." And I totally agree. Find the best people you can find, give away all authority, and don't interfere. Your environment plays a critical role in that. You see, the strength of the environment you build is going to be hugely determinant of how successful you're going to be at pulling yourself away from the temptations of filling your day. And I get this. When I was a new leader and leading groups, it's tempting to go back to just kind of helping out. And good leaders are a part of the action. And in some ways that's true, but that should not be all of your day. It's tempting to go back because you get worth. You find worth. In this uncertainty of being a new leader, there's worth to be found in just doing what you know you're good at, and probably what got you promoted to be leader in the first place. But that's not your job. When we talk about building capacity and building environments, that metaphor of building a house, environments should allow you to feel good about, not have a pit in your stomach about actually leaving your team, letting them play the game, letting these guys that are building the road and in the trucks and in the backhoes and all the equipment that's running around, letting them just do their job so that you can go away and do the things that great leaders do. Benjatschek, your building capacity coach here. As you're watching this video, you're hearing a lot about the environments, and so your question is, Dave, why are you so big on the environment? I'm big on it because of this truth. And I think it holds immense potential for you and your leadership journey. And the truth is this, we are the product of our environment. So if you were to invite me to watch you for a day, and I got to see your behaviors in different circumstances and different situations, it's absolutely true. It's true for all of us that those behaviors would have been heavily influenced by the environments you've been in the past. You know, in our lives, when we experience pain, either directly from ourselves or watching others that we care about go through pain, there are certain circumstances that define clearly what we will never ever do again. And then for those situations in our life where we have joy and reward and happiness and peace, they may reinforce behaviors as something that is the right thing to do in circumstances and we want to do more of. Here's the scoop. I call it our uncommon sense. What we've learned over the past 20, 30, 40, 50, okay, I'll stop, years, it's strong. And in the absence of a leader in an organization defining common sense, maybe you want more of that, i.e. the right thing to do in this situation given our environment, people go back to what they've always done or what they've seen done. And the difficulty for you as a leader is if you have 12 people on your team, those might be 12 different things. Sometimes it'll be less than that, but it can be up to 12 different things, and you've got scattered effort, which is not what you want. So here's the great news. If our behaviors today are defined by our environments of yesterday, then as a leader, the environment you build today will define your team's behaviors tomorrow. And it means that if you can see what you want 1, 2, 5 years from now, that the environment you start building today is actually going to help influence your team towards the behaviors you need to get there. And what's really sweet is when you manage the environment, it's actually something that you control more than you control the people that work for you. It's a better way. It's a more efficient way. It's a more powerful way of taking your team to the next level. We are the product of our environment. In November, we've got 2 two-day events, mentoring events. One in Calgary early November, one in Toronto late in November. They're called Capacity and Flow. And the first day of this particular mentoring event in each city is going to be dedicated to my passion of building capacity for leaders, which is a blueprint, a how-to, and some coaching and mentoring and leveraging the experience not only of myself but the other leaders in the room to decide on an implementation plan, how you're going to overcome some of the unique challenges you might face in your environment to the implementation of these really powerful and universal truths about leading people successfully, about building performance capacity. If that's something that you could use, 2 days focused on you, these rooms are going to have at maximum 8 people. I do not want a large classroom. It's going to be small class sizes, a tight-knit group of people all looking to get better and leveraging my experience, 20 years in industry and 15 years, the last 15 years coaching leaders around the world and the leaders in the room towards getting better. If that interests you or you know someone that could, check out the link below this video in the comment section. It'll take you to the page that talks about these events. You'll have the opportunity to find out more, look at an agenda, and best of all, secure your spot, either in Calgary in early November, Toronto late November. I hope to see you there.